Hello again, Jordan Ray here. This is part 2 of a video series where I'm building a kind of a interactive display, map display with Google Forms and Google Apps Script. This is part 2 of the series, so if you didn't see part 1 and you get confused about where we're starting here, feel free to check that out. Links somewhere nearby to the left or top or bottom or something of the video. So we've already built the form that we're going to use. We've built a response sheet, and then we have a simple trigger that will get the latitude and longitude for us when a user adds to the sheet. What we're going to do now, we need to actually create this map, and we're going to do that in its own separate little file here. And I'm going to build it from scratch. So I'm actually just going to go new Google Apps Script, and we're going to need 2 files inside of this project. But first things first, let me give it a name, Summer Vacation Map. And inside of code.js, we are going to do a doGet. And I'm going to pass in the event parameter. I don't think we're going to use it though, but I'm going to pass it in just in case we want to use it later. And I'm going to create an HTML object. Just first and foremost, let's get everything working. And because it's going to be a template, I use create template from file, and I'll just call it index. And then I'm going to return down here. Return html.evaluate, and I'm going to set the title to Summer Vacation Map. And I forgot a closing to close that close those quotes. So I'm going to save that there. This is going to be a template, so we're going to actually add some variables onto this HTML object, but we'll get everything set up first. I go up to File, New, HTML file, and I want to create that index. And it's already got a little, a little stub already in there, a little HTML doc type stub ready for us to go. And I'm going to leave that for now. Now the reason, we'll come back to that. The reason for this later. The reason we're going to use this template. But for now, we want to get the map created. Now we've got to do a little bit of configuration here because the Maps API with Google requires that you have an API key. To get that API key, we got to go out into the cloud, the developer cloud, and get an API key that's associated with this project. So I'll do that again for you if you weren't paying attention. Under Resources, you can access Cloud Platform Project. Fire that up. Once you are loaded and everything, it might take a second. In the left column, you click on APIs and Services, and we just want to search for maps. And you've got a ton of different maps available to you here. We want the JavaScript API here. So yep, there it is. Okay, JavaScript API, and we are going to click on Enable up here at the top, and we're going to get an API key once it's done enabling. Enabling, and we want to get some credentials. Here we go, on the left column. Now that we've enabled the API, we've got to grab the credentials. It might come with an API key, or I think we have to click some buttons. Let's see. Takes a moment. Okay, now that everything loaded, in Credentials, you click on Create Credentials, API Key, and it's going to give you a long list here. I've got it blocked out on mine. However, you create these, they are free. The only thing they might do is if you're using it thousands of times, or depending on whatever quota it is, it limits a little bit of how often you can access them so that you can't, um, overuse everything. So we're going to hit restrict key, none, save everything. So you've got it here on your credentials page. And you want to copy that key. And we're going to take that back into our project. We've enabled it now. We've got things loaded here. And I'm just going to, right now, save it into the index.html. I'm going to use it here in a minute. Okay, yeah, we're going to use this here in a second, because what we're going to do is head on over to the actual map API documentation, and we're going to look for some of this code that they have here, and we are going to copy and paste it. So everything inside of the body tag, and I will share this link to this documentation below, but it's simply maps/documentation/JavaScript examples map simple. Okay, so you're going to copy everything inside the body, and we're going to just paste that below. And this API key that we have saved for ourselves, we're going to copy that and put it where your API key goes. Boom, that's simple. And then the rest of this is fairly self-explanatory. It's going to load the Maps API for you, and then when it's done loading, it's going to run this init map function, which came with what we just copied and pasted right here. We've got an init map, and then it's going to target that ID of map, which also part of what we copy and pasted, this div with the ID of map. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. Actually, I'm going to go back over here. There's some styling that I'm going to go ahead and throw in here. We'll leave those other things out because this is not necessary. So, okay, copy and paste that styling in there. And let's try to load this up. I'm going to publish, deploy as a web app. This is going to be only for myself because it's something that I would want to display on a projector in front of a class as they send in their responses. Oh, and look at that. We've got a map on our screen. Perfect. Super simple. We enabled the API, threw it up on the screen. Now, that's what we're going to do in this video. That's all we're going to do in this video. Next video, we're going to use some JavaScript to tie it all together. So stay tuned for more. Please subscribe. Send me some ideas that you might have for ways to use this this kind of code in your classroom. And please go back, watch part 1, and check out some of my other projects. See what other things we can do with Google Apps Script. So stay tuned for part 3.